If you have sleep apnea or tinnitus and you haven't filed your VA claim yet, you could be losing $500 per month for the rest of your life, and the clock is ticking. Here's something that I believe that the VA doesn't want you to necessarily know. The proposed rating changes for sleep apnea and tinnitus, they aren't necessarily about modernizing the system or improving accuracy. They're about cutting costs, period. The VA is calling these changes updates based on current medical evidence. But here's the truth. Veterans using a CPAP machine for sleep apnea currently get a 50% rating automatically. That's about $1,075 per month. Under the new proposed rules, they'll get 10%. That's it. That's $171 per month. Let that sink in. That's a reduction of $904 per month. So over 30 years, that's $325,000 in lost benefits per veteran. And there are hundreds of thousands of veterans with service-connected sleep apnea. Listen, the VA is framing this as better aligning the criteria with medical knowledge. But what's really changing? Nothing medically. Sleep apnea is still sleep apnea. CPAP machines are still the standard treatment. What's changing is how much the VA wants to pay for it. And I don't accept that. I don't accept that veterans who were exposed to burn pits, blast injuries, and toxic substances who developed sleep apnea as a direct result of their service should suddenly be compensated at 1/5 of what they're getting now just because the VA wants to save money. Let me give you some context for what's happening right now. So, November 2025, with the VA disability claims process. I'm Dr. Marshall Bahr, founder of Xterra Health, and part of my mission is to keep veterans informed about changes in the VA system that directly impact your benefits. And right now, we're in a critical moment. There are 3 major things happening simultaneously in November 2025. First, the 2.5% cost of living adjustment, or COLA, is taking effect November 1st, 2025. And you're seeing it in payments. You should start seeing it in payments pretty soon. According to the Social Security Administration, this increase matches inflation to protect your purchasing power. 2, proposed rating changes for sleep apnea, tinnitus, and mental health conditions. While they are coming, they are still pending and could be implemented at any time, possibly as soon as late 2025 or as early as 2026. Third, the PACT Act continues to add different presumptive conditions for toxic exposures, making it easier for certain veterans to get service connected. So you have good news and you have some bad news happening at the same time. Your benefits went up to 2.5% to match inflation. That's great. But if you haven't filed claims for sleep apnea or tinnitus quite yet, you could be locked out of a higher rating once the new criteria takes effect. And that's what I want to talk about today because timing really does matter. It's critical. Understanding these changes matters, and taking action now before these proposed changes become final could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to you. So you do not want to delay this. So let me raise the stakes for you because this is not hypothetical. This affects real veterans right now. So I had a veteran, let's call him Marcus, who came to me in August 2025 this year. Marcus served in Iraq. He was exposed to burn pits daily, came home with severe sleep problems. He'd wake up gasping for air, exhausted every morning, couldn't focus at work. His wife begged him to see a doctor. Finally, in 2024, he got diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea, got prescribed a CPAP machine. It helped, but he still struggled. His doctor told him, this is probably related to your deployment exposure. But Marcus did not file a VA claim. He said, I'll get to it eventually. Then, in June 2025, he heard about the proposed rating changes that were coming possibly this year, later this year, and he called me panicking. Is it true I'll only get 10% if I wait? I told him, if you file now under the current criteria, you'll be grandfathered in at 50%. Remember, that's $1,075 per month. But if you wait until the changes take effect, you'll probably get just 10%, which is $171 per month. That's the difference of $904 per month or $325,000 over 30 years. Marcus filed immediately. I helped him gather evidence, document his exposure, get his claim submitted before any changes have taken effect. And he got his 50% rating here in September. But what about the veterans who do not know about these changes? What about the thousands of veterans with undiagnosed sleep apnea who think they have plenty of time to file? Here is what happens if you do not act now. If you have sleep apnea but have not filed yet and the new criteria takes effect, you'll be evaluated under the new system. So instead of getting an automatic 50% rating for using CPAP, you're going to get 10% at most, probably less. So you're going to lose $300,000 to $400,000 in lifetime benefits. That's a lot. If you have tinnitus as a standalone condition and you wait, you might get a 0% rating. Under the new changes that they're proposing, tinnitus will no longer receive a separate 10% rating unless it's tied to hearing loss rated at 0% or another qualifying condition. And here's the worst part. Once the new criteria takes effect, there's no grandfathering for new claims. Only veterans already rated under the old systems can keep their ratings. So you got to get but if you have an intent to file, you could get grandfathered in. But here's what happens if you do act and you do it right now. If you file your sleep apnea claim right now before the changes, you can get rated under the current criteria. So you'll get 50% automatically for being prescribed CPAP. So protected even after the changes take effect too. If you file your tinnitus claim now, you'll get the standalone 10% rating. It stays even if the criteria changes later. And if you've been avoiding filing because you think your condition isn't bad enough, do not wait. File now. Get evaluated under the current, more favorable system. Okay, so let's break down what's actually happening in November 2025. Starting with the good news, the COLA increase. So on December 1st, VA disability compensation rates are going to increase by 2.5%. This matches the Social Security COLA announced by the Social Security Administration in October. So what does this mean exactly for you and your pocket? Your monthly payments are going to go up. And here are the new rates effective December 1st, which you saw reflected in your payment. You'll start receiving reflected in your payment in early January. So here are some examples. 10% rating. That previously was $165.92, but now it'll go up to $171.23. So you gain about $5.30 per month. So for 30% rating, that was previously $524. Now it's $537. So about a $13 a month increase. 50%, you'll see a $25 a month increase. 70%, you'll see a $42 a month increase. And if you're 100%, combined rating, you'll see about a $93 a month increase. Now, this COLA increase is automatic, meaning you didn't have to file anything. The VA applied it to everyone's benefits. It's designed to help your compensation keep pace with inflation, the rising costs of food, housing, healthcare, and utilities. Now, is 2.5% a huge increase? No, it's not. If you're getting $1,000 per month, it's about an extra $25. But over a year, that's about $300. And what it's doing mainly is preventing your benefits from losing value due to inflation. Now, what about 2026? We don't really know yet, because that doesn't get finalized until the third quarter of 2026. And, I would anticipate it's going to be around the 2.73%, but we won't know until about October 2026. So next, I want to get into some teaching points, right? Another one is some of the proposed rating changes and what's coming up. So what are some of the changes that could devastate veterans' benefits? The proposed rating changes that are still pending as of November 2025. These changes were originally proposed in February 2022. The VA published them in the Federal Register. They've been under review ever since. And as of November 2025, they have not taken effect yet, but they could at any time. And that's what everyone keeps saying. And it's crazy that we're still saying it's pending and the goal line keeps shifting to the right. But any day now, it could happen. And that's the reality that we live in. So sleep apnea, this is the big one, right? The current criteria still is in effect as of November 2025. So that 50% automatic rating means that if you are requiring of a CPAP machine, you're prescribed a CPAP machine or a similar breathing device, you will automatically get a 50% rating. For a 30% rating, that means you have chronic respiratory failure with carbon dioxide retention requiring some form of oxygen therapy. And then the 10% under the current rating means that you're asymptomatic, meaning no symptoms, and you don't require any treatment. It just means that you are diagnosed with sleep apnea. So that is under the current 38 CFR code. And diagnosis code, for anyone that wants to know it, is 6847. So what about the proposed new criteria? The VA wants to rate sleep apnea based on responsiveness to treatment rather than just CPAP use alone. So under this new proposed system, most veterans using a CPAP would only qualify for a 10% rating at most. So only veterans with severe treatment-resistant sleep apnea would get higher ratings. So the 30% and 50% ratings will be much harder to obtain than they were before. And so let me be crystal clear. If you have service-connected sleep apnea and you're using a CPAP, you need to file your claim now. If you haven't already, once these changes take effect, you will not get that automatic 50% rating for just using a CPAP. You'll get a 10% maybe if you're lucky. What about tinnitus? So this condition, ringing in the ears, affects hundreds of thousands of veterans. It's one of the most commonly claimed and awarded service-connected disabilities. Under the current criteria, you will get a 10% rating if you have recurrent tinnitus, which is the ringing in the ears, and it's a standalone condition, meaning you don't have to, it can be its own thing under diagnostic code 6260. But here's the big changes. Under the proposed new criteria that could be coming down any day now, they're proposing the elimination of the standalone 10% rating for tinnitus. That means your tinnitus can no longer be rated by itself. It will only be rated if it's associated with hearing loss that is either 0%, so meaning service-connected but non-compensatable, or it's secondary to another condition like TBI or something similar to that. So don't lose all hope. It just means you're going to have a harder time getting it rated standalone. So if you have tinnitus, you can still get it connected to other secondary conditions. So, and like I said, most cases, tinnitus alone will receive no ratings. So you're going to have to be a little more strategic about this one if you do have ringing. You're going to either have to have the hearing loss or you're going to have to connect it to one of your other service-connected disabilities. So if you have tinnitus and you haven't filed, you need to file right now, is what I'm trying to say. Tinnitus is currently one of the most commonly filed and compensated conditions in the entire VA system. It is what they call the gateway claim for many veterans, but under their proposed changes, you won't get a separate rating for it. What about mental health changes coming up, like say PTSD, depression, anxiety, etc.? This one is actually more favorable for many veterans. So let me dig into it. So the current criteria means that it's really based heavily on what they define as occupational and social impairment. So you'll get ratings ranging from 0%, 10, 30, 50, 70, all the way to 100% rating. But, and again, the current system is based on occupational and social impairment. With the new criteria that they're proposing that could come down in the next year, it's going to be domain-based system evaluating. And they are going to be evaluating 5 areas specifically. So 1, they're going to look at cognition, like memory, concentration, focus. 2, interpersonal relationships. 3, task completion. 4 is life activities. 5 is your self-care, how you take care of yourself, brushing your teeth, cooking for yourself, cleaning yourself, shower, bathing. Minimum rating of 10% for any diagnosed mental health condition, so eliminates the 0% ratings. 100% rating are possible even if you're working full-time, based on your symptom severity. The mental health changes are actually improvements for many veterans. They're more objective, more comprehensive, and they recognize that you could be severely impacted by PTSD even if you're forcing yourself to still work. But here's the critical question. When will all these changes take effect? As of November 2025, the implementation date is still unknown. So, and according to reginfo.gov, the final action date has been pushed back multiple times, pushed to the right multiple times. Originally, January 2023, then it moved to August 2025, and now there's no confirmed date. The current administration is still reviewing these proposals. They could be implemented in late 2025, early 2026, or they could be delayed further or modified completely. So what does this all mean for you? Well, if you have sleep apnea or tinnitus, file now. Do not wait. File under the current criteria, which is more favorable for you right now. If you have mental health conditions, you can wait, as the new criteria may be more favorable, but you don't want to wait too long because time is money. File within the next few months just to be safe. So what I want you to do right now is stop the video. I want you to ask yourself 2 questions. 1, do I have sleep apnea? Have I been diagnosed with a sleep study? Am I using a CPAP machine or another breathing device? Have I filed a VA claim for it? Question 2, do I have tinnitus, ringing in my ears? Is it constant or recurrent? Have I filed a VA claim for it? If the answer to any of those questions is no, I haven't filed yet, you need to act this week. Do not delay. You can head over to xerahealth.com right now and you can schedule a free consultation and we can even help you with all this, gathering your medical evidence you need. If we need to write nexus letters, complete DBQs, we will document your condition properly and help you file your claim before any rating changes take effect. And what this does is it maximizes your rating under the current, more favorable criteria. Don't wait another month. Don't wait to see if the changes happen. File right now. Protect your benefits. The link is in the description below, xterahealth.com. So do it right now. I can wait. All right, so let's keep going. Now, let me give you some good news. The PACT Act is continuing to expand coverage for veterans, and the VA is adding more presumptive conditions regularly. So the PACT Act was passed in August 2022, and it dramatically expanded benefits for veterans exposed to all sorts of toxic substances like burn pits, Agent Orange, contaminated water at Camp Lejeune, and many other hazards. And they're coming up with new criteria and exposures even today. Throughout 2024 and 2025, the VA has been adding conditions to the presumptive list. So in October 2024, the VA published a proposed rule on toxic exposures that added several new conditions. So according to the Federal Register and VA policy letters, new presumptive conditions are being added, and they include certain respiratory conditions linked to burn pit exposure, additional cancers such as lung cancer, bladder cancers, and others, blood disorders, high blood pressure or hypertension as an Agent Orange presumptive condition, which is huge because, as we know, many of our Vietnam veterans have high blood pressure, and it is directly linked to Agent Orange presumptive condition. If your condition gets added to the presumptive list, you do not have to prove it was caused by service. You just have to show that you served in a qualifying location, whether that's Southwest Asia, Vietnam, Camp Lejeune, etc., that you have the diagnosed condition. Make sure you were diagnosed with it and that it manifested within the qualifying timeline. The VA will then presume service connection, meaning you not need to prove the nexus, the connection between the disability and your military service. So if you have been denied in the past for one of these conditions because you couldn't prove the nexus, 2025 might be the time to refile under the new presumptive rules. So do not wait any longer. Look at the presumptive list for any of the theaters that you were deployed in. If any of the conditions you are currently diagnosed with falls on it, then you need to reapply for those benefits because now you do not need to prove service connection. So let me give you a clear action plan for this month in November 2025, based on everything that we've already discussed. Action 1. Again, if you have sleep apnea or tinnitus, you need to file those VA claims immediately. Do not wait. Do not see what happens. File your claims under the current criteria. Again, if you need help, go to xterahealth.com. Action 2. If you were exposed to burn pits, Agent Orange, or Camp Lejeune water, check the new presumptive list. You may now qualify for conditions that were previously denied that you applied for. Refile if necessary. Action number 3. If you have mental health conditions, file within the next 1 to 3 months would be my recommendation. The new criteria may be favorable, but don't wait too long. Get your claim in while you still have benefit from whichever system is more advantageous. Action 4. You need to review your current rating. Have your conditions worsened? Are you missing secondary conditions? File for an increase or add new claims as needed. Remember, your current ratings are protected. The COLA adjustment already increased them, but you can still file for an increase if your conditions have progressed. And Action 5, stay informed, stay educated. Follow reputable sources like VA.gov, the Federal Register, veterans law firms, and medical associates like us here at Xtera Health. Bookmark reginfo.gov to track when the proposed rating changes get finalized. So I want to bring all this together and close this out. November 2025 is a pivotal moment for VA disability claims. You just got a 2.5% COLA increase that's coming up. That's good, but proposed rating changes for sleep apnea and tinnitus are looming, and they could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars if you don't act fast. So here's what you need to remember. 1, sleep apnea with CPAP, while it's currently at 50% automatic rating, under the proposed changes, it'll now drop to 10% if you're lucky. If you haven't filed, again, file now. 2, tinnitus currently gets a standalone 10% rating, but under the proposed changes, it will no longer do that. You have to have tinnitus. And so if you happen to have tinnitus and you haven't filed yet, do it now. Number 3, mental health rating changes are actually going to be improvements in the future. They'll be more objective, minimum 10%, no more 0% ratings. These changes may actually benefit you if you've been denied. 4 are PACT Act claims, right? PACT Act continues adding presumptive conditions, so you need to check if any of your conditions qualify now. 5, if your current ratings are protected, COLA increases are now automatic, but new claims will be evaluated under whatever criteria are in effect when you file. So remember, timing matters, knowledge matters, action matters. So if you need help navigating any of this, if you're not sure whether to file, what to file for, or how to build a strong claim, again, visit us at xterrahealth.com, schedule a free medical consultation. We specialize in helping veterans like you maximize your ratings and protect all of your benefits and maximize them. Now, in my next video, I'm going to tackle one of the most frustrating topics that many veterans have: why so many veterans get denied and how to fix it. I'm going to break down the top 10 reasons VA claims get denied, the mistakes veterans make that cost them benefits, and the exact strategies to avoid denials and win your claim the first time through. But here's the truth. Most denied claims shouldn't have been denied the first time. They were denied because of either missing evidence, poor documentation, or not understanding what the VA actually needs to see. I'm going to show you exactly how to build a bulletproof claim so you don't end up spending years on appeals. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember, you served your country. You earned these benefits. Do not let bureaucracy or timing take them away from you. Act now, stay informed, and know that you're not alone in this fight. So take care. I'll see you next time. And until next time, stay mission ready.